I'm curious. I am curious. Curious.
By nature.
Welcome to Curious by Nature. I'm Jessica Johnson from Newswise. Imagine being able to reduce your body's absorption of fat simply by ingesting microbeads made from edible plant compounds. That's the direction of the work by Professor Junling at Sichuan University, whose lab recently developed edible polyphenol-based microbeads that trap dietary fats in the gut, reducing absorption and thereby helping with weight control. In tests with rats fed high-fat diets, animals that ingested the beads lost around 17% of their body weight compared to control groups, while also showing reduced fat tissue and liver stress and increased fat excretion, without the gastrointestinal side effects commonly seen in fat-blocking drugs. Professor Guo, welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Junling. I'm currently the professor at the Sichuan University of China, and also the founder and CEO of Novastra Therapeutics.
So now I really want to hear more about your recent presentation that had to do with weight loss.
Yeah, it's actually is not presented by me. I'm so proud. It is actually presented by my PhD student, Yue Wu. We know that GLP-1 or Ozempic, these kinds of like injection systematic drugs, that they can help us to lose weight or treat the obesity. But there are actually many other people. There are a big group of people. They are not suitable for Ozempic, or we call GLP-1 type drugs, or they will actually bounce back. So they also will regain the weight after they stop the Ozempic or GLP-1. So at that time, I was thinking that, maybe we can create a different mechanism of a therapy than can for this obesity treatment. So what we are thinking is about the lower the calories that intake by each person. That's why we create a very, very beautiful nanostructure, but you can see it's like a pure bubble, like a bubble tea. You got small beads, and the small beads you can eat, and the mechanism is very simple. The beads can capture the oil, the fat, the sugar in our food and secrete out with the beads. So by this mechanism, we lower the calories, lower the fat that we intake, and could be potentially treated obesity.
I would love to know a little bit more about it. And particularly, is there a moment when someone would have to consume these beads? Is it right after eating, or could it be any time and it would still remove fat from their body?
Yeah, this is a very, very good question. So in our animal study or preclinical study, we actually let animal actually consume the beads before the high fat food diet of food. But in our clinical trials, when we were designing our clinical trials, we were not sure. We don't know. We also generate the same question: when should we take the beads? So in our clinical trials, we actually divided them for two groups, and some people they will take before the meal, and some people will take after the meal. And we don't know which one is good. So we will see our clinical trial readout to tell us which way will be better.
When are you doing the clinical trial?
So we are now currently conducting the clinical trials in the West China hospital. So this is a very, very good hospital. It's probably ranked number 1 in Asia. Ranked number 8 in the world. Is actually affinity university to my university, Sichuan University. So it's a Sichuan University hospital. But it's incredible hospital, world class. And so they actually welcome this because actually our clinical trial is IIT. It's called investigator initiate trials. So this is purely for research, for how we better understand the science in our body. So only the top university, they feel like, okay, we want you to do that in here, because somehow they take the risk. It's very, very high risk, but curiosity driven clinical trials. Yeah.
So you basically completed the trials on mice. Is that correct?
Yes. We finished the all our experiments in mice already, and we published this result in Cell Biomaterials. It's a sister journal of Cell, so it's very, very good journal, and our reviewers give us very incredibly positive comments, so which encourage us to say to motivate us to continue in human. And we really want to see if it can work in human. Maybe we can actually create a better scenario for the treatment of obesity or many other metabolic disease.
So what I really like about this is that there's a simplicity, and I know that it isn't simple, but the result is kind of a great option for resolving the problem of obesity. And so can you tell me about the mechanism of how do the microbeads work to help weight loss?
So actually, my research background is about natural polyphenols. So polyphenols are the natural compounds found in fruits or vegetables. It's in almost in everywhere, actually in all plants. And so their basic chemical structure is they contain catechol or gallo groups. They are all natural compounds. So like in tea or the vegetables or fruits that we eat, actually we consume vegetables. So they are actually many vegetable, the polyphenols are FDA approved for grass, which is actually very, very important. So what my research doing is we use natural polyphenols as a bio building blocks to create biomaterials. So we create different biomaterials that is already actually constructed from nature. But we are really good at to use the properties of natural polyphenols. So for example, they are hydrophilic and also hydrophobic. So we actually use this property in our microbeads, because in our microbeads, the microbeads itself is constructed by algylate. So it's normal materials, algylate, but it's also FDA approved for food. But in the beads, it contains many small pockets, and these pockets are constructed by natural polyphenols and vitamin E. So vitamin E and the polyphenol in your tea or wine, they form a nano pocket. And then when we eat the beets, the nano pockets will absorb the fat, the oil, the sugar in the nano pockets and lock them inside. And then when the microbeads come out from our body, the oil sugar come out.
So hydrophobic is not dissolving in water and hydrophilic is dissolving in water, or can you correct me if that's wrong?
Yeah, I think it's perfect. It's perfect description. Yeah.
Are there any other materials that are not natural in these microbeads?
When we were designing the microbeads, we want it to be eatable. We want it to be translationable. This is actually the basic principle in my lab, in my research philosophy. We wish everything that translationable, eatable. So everything, all the building blocks that we use for the microbeads are FDA approved for eat as a food or supplements.
So the microbeads could be, like you said, those beads in the boba tea. And so someone could consume it like that and be not worrying that they're consisting of plastics or anything like that, that they're all natural substances.
Yes.
They help them lose weight.
Yes. This is like a magic. But yes, it's like magic. But in here, I want to really use the opportunity here to let our audience understand there's a warmth between food and a medical device or drugs. So even though all the ingredients that we use to create the microbeads are eatable, the vitamin E, alginate, green tea polyphenols, we actually we intake them right in our daily life sometimes. It's allowed to do. It is allowed to be do like that. But there's a limitation of the amount, the dose, because in our beets it contains the vitamin E. The vitamin E dose is higher than what we actually can take daily. So the vitamin E dose is already beyond as a food. So we cannot like to develop our product as food to the consumers or public. So it have to go through like drugs or medical device. And currently we plan to go through medical device. And the FDA or Chinese FDA, they are actually particularly designed a like instruction of this kinds of medical device that they can for the treatment of obesity. Yeah.
So what makes the difference between a medical device and a drug?
So for drugs, they will have a biological interaction with our body. So for example, like Ozempic is like a hormone driven mechanism. So it will interact with our brain, interact with our body. But for medical device, there's a no, I will say, there's a no very deep biological interaction. It's just the coming, like a physical interaction. It's all physical interaction. It will just come in, absorb the fat and oil, sugar, and go out. So that's like Ozempic it will interact with our brain or many other biological systems. This is the difference. So that's why I have to say, medical device will be less intrusive, less invasive for us because we don't have to change our hormone or systematic like biological systems.
Can you describe maybe the differences in what you've seen, even though you haven't yet done the clinical trial yet, what you see in the amount of weight loss and how that compares to GPL-1s?
So in our animal models results, we saw very promising result. So generally for GLP-1 or Ozempic, they can down the body weight roughly around 14% average. But in our animal results, it actually show 15 to 17% down body weight. We guess maybe because there are two mechanisms that come together. So one is what I mentioned about because they capture oil and fat, the oil, fat, sugar, and secrete out. There's one mechanism. Actually, we think there's another very simple mechanism. It also works. Just the feeling of eating. Because the beets, imagine like when you drink a bubble tea, you eat them. They just, like we still eat them, so they give us the satisfaction of eating. So the animals, once they take our beets, they already feel full, so they don't want to intake other food. And this is what we also notice in our very, very early stage human trial. So the patients or the test, the person, they feel like, oh, really? We have to eat them? So once they eat them, they feel like, now I'm not so interested in eat my own food so much. So it's kind of combination. And actually in US market, there are a few products use the similar mechanism to you eat them and it make you feel full. So we actually combine these two mechanisms from my viewpoint.
When will this be available to the public? And I guess it could be different in China and it could be different in the US. Do you have any time frames?
We actually have two roads to finally reach the market. One is actually we can develop our technology as a functional food. And now we are already start collaboration with several US companies. And we want to develop this technology as a like a functional food, maybe to be first. So we won't have our own brand, but we will generate it as a to be product that maybe many in future, like even the burgers can contain our ingredients and lower the calories. So one is functional food. It maybe will be faster, maybe roughly around 1 year, roughly within 1 year. For medical device will be a completely different story. So even once we finish our human trials, we have to raise another series of funding, probably a couple million US dollars, and to extend our human trials, and then submit the application to FDA or Chinese FDA to continue the human trials a little bit more, and finally obtain the approve to go to the market as medical device. It will be another story. Maybe there will be, I think, will be 3 years at least as a medical device. So, but of course, they have difference for functional food. Maybe the efficacy to lose weight is not so strong. It will have the effect, but won't be as effective as our current recipe. But for medical device, of course, it will be more efficient, but it will take longer time to finally reach the market, probably like 3 years at least.
Thank you so much for joining me today and to talk with me about this. I love the idea of what you're creating, and I hope that it will be soon available for more people and for everyone, so we can eat whatever we enjoy.
Curious by Nature is a production of Newswise. More than 7,000 journalists get the Newswise wires. Visit newswise.com and find out how to spread your news today.